Ho, 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 gentlemen. The holidays have come early this year as Manscaped have the gift that keeps on trimming. Santa's beard isn't so appealing when it's coming out of your trousers, and that's why Manscaped, the leaders in below-the-waist grooming, have you covered this holiday season. Now available in your country, join the 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped to keep their trees trimmed and ornaments polished. Go to manscaped.com and use code DTR for 20% off plus free shipping.
Stafford under pressure, and a tuck it, and he's in! Darrell Henderson, he's off and running! As Woods, touchdown! Cooper Kupp just went up and took it away.
Van Jefferson for the touchdown.
Aaron Donald smothers him. Jalen Ramsey put the pop on. Sacked by Leonard Floyd, having a day again. Darius Williams with a diving hit.
Jordan Fuller comes up with his second interception of the night.
Welcome back, guys, to the Downtown Rams podcast. This is episode 390. I'm your host, Jake Ellenbogen, and not joining me on this podcast is Alexis Kraft. She is with family. We are kind of separated, so I'm just doing a podcast here. She'll be back for the next installment, but let's just dive right into it. Of course, before we do, be sure to subscribe and be sure to tell your friends about Downtown Rams. But the Rams are playing the Packers. We're going to be talking about that. We're going to be talking about the fact that, we can call it like it is, but this is very much a must win for both teams. Must win in a sense that both teams are looking to win a Super Bowl. And a big component to doing that is making sure that you don't play, the full amount of games that you have to play in the playoffs. Getting that bye, getting some time off, and that's going to give you the best opportunity to win a Super Bowl. You don't have to play as many games. It's less opportunity to get eliminated. All of that. So with the recent playoff structure, the new playoff structure with 7 teams and only one first-round bye, the Rams are essentially playing the Packers for a chance at a very valuable tiebreaker that could be useful later on in the season. The Rams, as we do know, are second in the NFC West, despite the fact they are 7-3. Arizona is not letting up, and on top of that, they do have another game against Arizona, but they already have a game that they've lost against Arizona. So in that sense, the Rams essentially have to beat Arizona, win out and have some help from the Arizona Cardinals losing a game or two, along those lines, because a tiebreaker, say the Rams do beat Arizona and they both split this season, we are looking at the fact the Rams, simply put, wouldn't have a tiebreaker on Arizona because it would be division based. And right now, the Rams have not beaten the San Francisco 49ers. They're 0-5 in the last 5 meetings. They have another meeting with San Francisco, whereas Arizona beat them. Arizona beat Seattle. Arizona beat the Rams. And it's going to be really hard to have a better record than Arizona. So that division tiebreaker seems very likely going to the Arizona Cardinals. So they're going to need help, regardless if they win or not. They're going to need help, and Arizona's going to have to lose one more game to the Rams. So that there's that. And on top of that, with the Packers, you're looking at a team that, they did just breathe life, just like the Rams kind of breathed life back into the San Francisco 49ers, who find themselves at 5-5 coming into this week. The Green Bay Packers lost a tight one on the road shootout against the Minnesota Vikings, kind of breathing life back into them, putting them in the playoff race. So while, Green Bay is technically expected to win that division pretty easily, now all of a sudden we don't know what Minnesota team will get the rest of the season. And, when you're talking about, must win, you're talking about the fact you need to win out or need to, keep the losses to a minimum to get that number 1 seed to have the best chance at winning a Super Bowl. This is very much a must win for Green Bay and for the Rams. Rams are coming off 2 straight losses. Green Bay is coming off 2 out of 3 losses. Their one win was against Seattle with Rodgers. They lost against Kansas City. That was when Rodgers had COVID, so he was not eligible to play. And it was the second-year man out of Utah State And that was, of course, Jordan Love. Now, looking at this game, you have both teams are a little banged up. The Rams don't have Sebastian Joseph Day, the nose tackle, who is one of the best interior defensive, run defensive tackles in the league. He is out. They don't have a guy who gave the Packers fits in the playoffs last year, or rather this year, earlier this year in January, in Cam Akers, but we already knew that. He's out. The Rams don't have Robert Woods. He just got placed on IR. He tore his ACL. He is out for the season. So there are definitely some injuries on the Rams front. There is a chance Dante Dion does not play, but he is expected to play. He would likely fill in as the nickel corner. And it looks to me like he has technically won that job. So when they're using the nickel, they like to use him over David Long. They like to use him over Robert Rochelle. They have Darius Williams and, of course, Jalen Ramsey playing the other two corner spots. Von Miller is good to go, of course. He is back and running. He played against the 49ers right before the bye. And, when you look at Von Miller, he has a little bit of a head start in this defense and, getting him integrated because fact of the matter is this, the Rams have a Vic Fangio type of scheme that they do run. There's a lot of roots to the Fangio tree. And so because of that, since Von Miller is coming from the Vic Fangio scheme himself over in Denver, he's a little bit ahead of the curve. Now, he does have to learn the verbiage and things along that nature, but, I do think that he is going to be ready to make an impact. And I think he's going to be likely, to do something against the Packers, put some pressure on Rodgers, definitely be able to set the edge and, stop a guy like A.J. Dillon or even if Aaron Jones plays. But what I will say is that, just looking at that, I think the big one here is Odell Beckham Jr., the star wide receiver who the Rams signed, and he's only been there for a week. He had the bye week to kind of learn the playbook a little bit. He has more preparation to do because it's not the same offense. It's a completely different offense, and they're asking him to essentially fill in. Initially, it was to fill in as, they kind of could have taken their time. They had Woods, they had Jefferson, they have Kupp. Now they have just Jefferson, Kupp, and then now OBJ, Ben Skoranek, a 7th-round pick out of Notre Dame this season, and JJ Koski, a UDFA. They have guys, but when you had Woods, it was a lot easier to, train, get ready, get OBJ into shape. Now you're kind of in a need. Like he went from becoming, a luxury guy to a need overnight when OBJ, or rather Robert Woods, got hurt. So we'll see with OBJ. Sean McVay was gushing about him, in the presser and basically made it sound like, well, I believe it. But it sure sounded good along the lines of OBJ having a more active role this week. Keep in mind, he only had half a practice right before Monday Night Football, so not a lot of time to prepare. Now he's had a whole bye to look over the playbook and get his bearings in the offense. So we'll see. I think he's going to have a pretty interesting game. I'm feeling pretty good about OBJ, but that's just me. So those two guys are definitely, key cogs to the system. On the Packers side of things, obviously Aaron Rodgers can make all the throws. Doesn't matter if he's hurt. He's still Aaron Rodgers. He is going to be playing with a broken toe. I don't really care, to be honest with you. Aaron Rodgers just threw for 380-something yards and kept that, Packers team in it. So I'm not, going to slow play this at all. Aaron Rodgers is still Aaron Rodgers 100%. Which is what I'll say. And then, you look at the running backs, and it's not determined at the time of recording this if Aaron Jones will suit up or if he won't. But the fact of the matter is this, whether he suits up or not, A.J. Dillon is a very good running back. Patrick Taylor, he'll get some opportunities as well. I think what it comes down to is that, the Rams are just going to have to be able to stop these guys. And I think, the way it looks is Aaron Jones could end up returning. He did practice this week. And A.J. Dillon, regardless if he returns or not, A.J. Dillon is a force to be reckoned with. There's a reason he's called Quadzilla. And, I just think the Rams with their lighter boxes playing 5-6 in the box, If they have to make an adjustment, they need to make that adjustment. We saw against the Niners, allowing the Niners to run over 40 times against that defense and just, rip up chunk yardage after chunk yardage. We do know Matt LaFleur knows what he's doing. We do know he'll go back and watch the tape and try to emulate that. But this is definitely a different type of Packers offense. It's more of a well-rounded offense. They like to run the ball. They like to be more balanced. They don't like to do what they did against the Vikings. They don't like they don't like playing from behind. No team really does. And, the Packers especially don't love it. The Rams, I can tell you, are a team that want to get up early on. They're 43-0 under Sean McVay when leading at halftime, and they're like 6-18 when losing at halftime. I think it's 6-18. I'm not exactly sure on that, but it's around that. Point taken is that Sean McVay isn't the best halftime coach. The Rams are not the best team when it comes to playing from behind. But luckily for them, the Green Bay Packers struggle playing, getting off to good starts. And I think that's going to be something that the Rams can, definitely take advantage of. Something, that I think the Rams will take advantage of. And I think they'll start off whether they score a touchdown or field goal on the first drive, they just have to make sure they can get some points. I do expect to have more of a high-octane approach against this Packers secondary. I think they will test Kevin King, and I do think they'll try running the ball with Darrell Henderson. Darrell Henderson, I think, has shown you going into the bye, he was top 10 in rushing. Obviously, with the bye, he's no longer top 10, but this is definitely somebody that has given them everything that they could have asked for, and he's still not used enough. And so I think with Sean McVay being able to go over the film and everything at the bye, kind of get his bearings a little bit and, understand everything that's going on. I think he'll be able to, realize, hey, I should probably use, Darrell Henderson a little bit more when he's playing the way he's playing. So, I'm sure we'll see him quite a bit in this game as well. Now, the curious thing will be, how do they stop a guy like Cooper Kupp? How do the Rams stop a guy like Davante Adams? Because I think, you can definitely go with bracket coverage on Davante Adams. Obviously, no one wants to see Leonard Floyd on him. No one wants to see any of that bend don't break, and no one wants to see the star roll. I do think you can play the star roll with Ramsey, but here's my thing, is that when you try to play the star roll with Ramsey, you have to keep in mind he's essentially playing outside of his position he played last season. He's essentially being the middle linebacker, if you will. And so when he's doing that, it really makes it difficult because, he's playing in one area of the field, and then you have your two corners on the other side. Now, I would have no issue with Ramsey playing the star role if they had two corners to coincide that, but I just don't trust the Rams corners enough for them to keep going with that. I don't expect them to stop. It will be interesting. I do think if you play a bend don't break style defense against Aaron Rodgers, he'll just pick that apart all day, whether it's, quick crossers or, it's one of those, 9-yard curl routes. This is the team that you definitely don't want to play bend don't break against. Aaron Rodgers can make anything happen, and I'm hoping the Rams have learned from, a few of their mistakes over the last, 2 weeks or so, 3 weeks. So looking at this game, we talked a little bit about, some X factors. Obviously A.J. Dillon's one, obviously OBJ and Von Miller. On the defensive side, I think you're getting some really good contribution for the Packers in Rasul Douglas, a guy that filled in Jair Alexander, superstar corner. He is out. And so they had to have somebody fill in, and Rasul Douglas has really done a nice job. They have, some really nice play at the safety position, Adrian Amos, and, I think they have some really nice pieces. You look at Rashawn Gary, a guy that has shown you time after time, he can really generate pressure. He's a really talented pass rusher. You have guys like Kenny Clark and Dean Lowry in the trenches, and Devondre Campbell, who we've seen plenty of times with the Cardinals, with the Falcons. He is nowhere near the player he was then. He is so much better. And it's something that's kind of weird to say, but, Devondre Campbell going to the Packers has gone from pretty much a career, above average, linebacker. I'm not about to say he was bad, about above average, but since he's been to the Packers, I mean, he's one of the best linebackers in football this season. Whether it makes sense to you, that's just the reality. He's turned into one of the best. The big storyline for the Packers is flat out they are injured all over the place. Aaron Jones could go, but we don't know if he's 100% going to go. Aaron Rodgers playing with a broken toe, as previously mentioned. The offensive line is completely banged up. They lost Eldon Jenkins for the year. David Bakhtiari's not going to play, so that's a big thing there. We talked about Jair Alexander being gone. Robert Tonyan's out for the season. So as you can see, there's a lot of injuries. It's just Zadarius Smith is another. It's just a lot, and so we'll see how well the Packers respond going into this game and coming out of it. This is, again, it's a huge game. It's at home and it's in the frozen tundra, but they have to make sure they can take care of business, and the Rams have to make sure, as tough as it is to go on the road, coming off a bye, going to the frozen tundra and winning, they're going to have to do that. Otherwise they're going to drop 3 straight. And, a team that was just 7-1, now they're all of a sudden 7-4 overnight. So, it's definitely imperative for them. But before we dive into the rest of this, I just want to, take a quick break here. Just talk a little bit about our sponsor, our proud sponsor, MyBookie. So I just want to say, we hope you didn't fill up on Turkey Day, because at MyBookie, the fun is just getting started. This Cyber Monday, MyBookie is giving you a bet one, get one free promotion on Monday Night Football games. On Cyber Monday, bet against the spread on Week 12 Monday Night Football game, and whatever you wager up to, $100, you'll receive that same value back in a risk-free bet for Week 13's Monday night game. MyBookie is the only sportsbook where buy one, get one means you're holding the bag. Don't miss out. Head to mybookie.ag this Monday to get in on the exclusive promotion. Bet one, get one promotion. Why not wager on the biggest matchup of Week 12, the Los Angeles Rams versus Green Bay Packers? In a clash of NFC juggernauts, don't look for either side to hold back. Bet the over and thank me later. Set yourself up for success by doubling your first deposit when using our promo code JKDTR at mybookie.ag. That's promo code JKDTR at mybookie.ag to double your initial deposit all the way up to $1,000. Bet anything, anywhere, anytime with MyBookie.
Girls, I don't know about you, but I'm tired of finding a bush when I go down on my man's chimney. Dear Santa, all I want this holiday season is for my man to have smooth jingle balls. Thankfully, Manscaped answered with the Performance Package 4.0, so I don't have to find Santa's beard in my man's pants again. Ladies, this holiday season, get your man products that will leave him smelling fresh with their all-new ultra-premium body wash and a 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner. It's time to give the man in your life the gift of beautiful skin, hair, and balls this holiday season. Go to manscaped.com and use code DTR for 20% off plus free shipping.
So yeah, we are back to the second half of this podcast. Hope you guys are enjoying. Hope you guys checked out our offer for MyBookie. I can't remember the last time they've done anything like buy one, get one. Love the concept, and I highly recommend it. If you really feel good about a game, especially the Monday Night Football game, definitely get in on that. JKDTR is the promo code there. But let's dive in to the rest of this preview. Let's talk about it. Okay, we talked about the X Factor. Right, we talked about different players to watch, but what's going to happen? What can we expect? Who cares about what players? Who cares what to watch for? What you, the audience, what can you expect? What can I expect out of this game? I'm going to start off with the Packers. I think they're going to get off to a slow start. I think they, notoriously do get off to slow starts. They actually get outscored in every single quarter, each game, over the Rams. The Rams score more in the first quarter than the Packers do. The Rams score more in the second, third, and fourth than the Packers do. So the Rams typically don't get off to super slow starts like like the Packers, their recipe for success is winning into the half, taking a lead into the half, and then just holding on to it. That's been their bread and butter. It seems simple. It seems kind of lame to say that, but that's the way it is. Sean McVay is very good when leading. Sean McVay starts to struggle and unravel when losing. And Sean McVay tied at halftime, it's kind of a mixed bag. You don't really know where you're going to go. So, looking at this game, I do think the Packers struggle to get going early on. I think the Rams defense, hopefully, will not be playing so far off man, but if they do, I think the Packers will get back into it in the second half. What I'm saying now with the Rams, though, I think they're going to get off to a quick start. I think they're going to come out with something to prove. I understand they're coming off a bye. People would expect them to come out lackadaisical, come out, rusty. I get it. I mean, it makes sense to a degree. But I'm going to say they don't. I'm going to say they come out with some fire. Not many teams like the Rams with that much talent lose 2 straight the way they did in front of everybody in the country, all of their peers, all of their friends, their family. Everyone saw that, embarrassing showing, back-to-back primetime games against, solid teams. So the Rams are going to come out with something to prove. The Rams need this game, I think, more than the Packers, although they both really do. And so I expect they come out looking well, whether they get the opening kick or whatever, because I'm not going to speculate who's going to win a coin toss. It's just not me. But I think regardless, on the first opening drive for the Rams, offensive, I think they're going to move the ball. I think they're going to have more of a balanced attack with the script. I think Sean McVay is going to utilize the run, go back to his bread and butter, the play action, which they've gone away from since they had Stafford. The play action, I think, would help Stafford more. I think they're putting up a lot of pressure on him. And a thing that I noticed, and I've said this on other episodes in the past, is that teams stopped blitzing Matthew Stafford. They stopped doing it because now all of a sudden when you don't blitz Matthew Stafford and you're still able to get through with 3 or 4 man rush and Matthew Stafford's looking and you have extra guys in the secondary, it's making it harder for a guy to get open. Stafford has nowhere to go, and now all of a sudden you're getting in on 3-4 man rush. You don't have to blitz, and then now you're still getting pressure and you're forcing turnovers and things along that nature. So I think Stafford is going to play with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. I don't think that the Packers are going to do a nice job of stopping him. Look, last week, we could talk about the way the Packers have played, over the last, few weeks. We can talk about how they beat the Cardinals, and I very much respect the team, but let's not discount the fact that, Kirk Cousins threw 341 yards and 3 touchdowns against this team. Let's not discount the fact that, Justin Jefferson, 8 catches, 169 yards, 2 touchdowns against this team last week. They gave up 25 first downs for Minnesota. Minnesota won the time of possession. And not only that, Green Bay was heavily penalized. Green Bay, allowed 3 out of 4 attempts in the red zone for Minnesota. And at the end of the day, Green Bay had more yards, but it didn't matter. They had more yards per play. It did not matter because Minnesota was 9 of 13 on third down conversions. They extended longer drives, and they kept the time of possession. So I think the key here is obviously you want to keep Aaron Rodgers off the field as long as you can. I think Sean McVay knows that. I don't think that's a brand new thing. It's not brand new information. But what it comes down to is that the Rams, they need to sustain longer drives. They need to keep the defense on the bench. They can't keep the defense on the field as long as they do. And with the bend don't break, Aaron Rodgers can pick you apart. I do think the Rams almost benefit with their 8.6 yards per play last week. If the Packers try to go high, octane offense and they go up tempo and, they're scoring on 4 or 5 plays, I think the really big key to beating the Rams is diminishing the time on the clock and dominating the time of possession and really just running those 10 to 12 to 14 to even 18 play drives. We've seen that with the Niners. We've seen that with the Titans. We saw that with Arizona earlier in the year. The Rams have a hard time winning those type of games. And if the Packers do it, they have some drives like that, it could be a long day. However, I think the Rams come out with some fire. I think they're going to have a well-balanced approach. I think you're going to see some great things out of Cooper Kupp. Just that consistency factor. He's already over 1,100 yards. No one else is over 1,000. He's just on a tear, and I think it's not really going to stop. Because regardless, if you want to put 2 guys or 3 guys on him, it'll open up opportunities for Odell Beckham Jr. and Van Jefferson and Tyler Higbee and Darrell Henderson, Sony Michel, and you just can't afford to put 3 guys on Cooper Kupp now that you have Odell Beckham Jr. because he's not as well informed of this offense, just because he's pretty new, doesn't mean the Rams don't have a trick up their sleeve. Doesn't mean the Rams aren't going to utilize him. And so Sean McVay is staring 0-7 in the face combined in the last 7 meetings against, Kyle Shanahan and Matt LaFleur. He would be 0-2 against Matt LaFleur because the last time the Rams beat the Packers, they beat the Packers at the Coliseum. I was actually at that game, and Mike McCarthy was the coach, for that team. So it was not LaFleur in 2018. LaFleur took over after, and he's there now, and he beat Sean McVay in the playoffs last year. So there's a little bit of some a rivalry brewing here between these two teams. That was a big game for the Rams in the playoffs. So obviously they'll be playing the same spot they played in January with a different quarterback. They'll be looking, but also keep this in mind: the defense hasn't gone the way that you expected. The defense hasn't gone the way many people expected. But at the end of the day, the defense still has playmakers. I expect guys like Jalen Ramsey to dig in, make some plays. Aaron Donald. The last time the Rams played the Packers, Aaron Donald was about 30%. He barely played, and Cooper Kupp was out. So we will see how big of an impact they make. But my final score prediction here is 33-26. I think the Rams have themselves a day. I think that they come back and they get the much-needed win on the road to extend their season, extend their trip to getting the number 1 seed, keeping themselves alive. Cooper Kupp goes over 7.5 receptions, which by the way is the prop set at Caesars betting. I just think it's going to be another really good Cooper Kupp game. I think he'll go over 150 yards receiving. I think he'll go over 7.5 receptions. I also think Odell Beckham Jr. is going to be looking at probably a 5-catch, 70-yard, maybe a touchdown type of game. That's kind of where I envision him. I think he's going to have a role in this one. And I also think Van is going to have a role in this one, but keep an eye out for Tyler Higbee, kind of the X factor there. And especially, I can't stress enough, Darrell Henderson, because if Sean McVay during the bye looked at everything and said, I don't run the ball enough, and it clicks and he starts running the football and they use more play action, they're going to be going back to their old roots and they'll be just as tough to stop as they were in 2017-18. This team fell into a bad stretch the last 2 games. I really feel like they needed this bye. I think it's going to help. It's why I have them winning 33-26. Regardless of the injuries, I think the Rams are the better team when both teams are fully healthy. But I understand they're on the road. I understand people are worried. I just think, to assume the Rams aren't going to win because the Packers can't lose 2 straight is just a little ridiculous. I've actually seen that as a reason. There's no way they're going to lose coming off a loss against the Vikings now at their home. I disagree. I don't think that's how the league works. No one thought the Chiefs were going to start off this poorly. It happens. But I do have the Rams winning 33-26. And I think this is 100% going to be the game of the week. I mean, not counting Thanksgiving, because it's hard to beat that Dallas and, Raiders game, even though they threw 28 penalty flags for almost 280 yards total. But that's neither here nor there. But yeah, I think the Rams end up winning this game. I think Stafford has himself a nice showing with 3 touchdowns. You see some contributions out of, your star players. And I do expect the Rams to get after Aaron Rodgers. This injury, I think, was bad against the Vikings. We don't know how much worse it's going to get. And that's the thing. Over time, this thing isn't getting fixed. He's still playing on it. It could get worse. He was held out of practice, I believe, on Friday. So, that definitely could get bad. So we'll see how that goes. But guys, that's going to do it for me. I'm Jake Ellenbogen. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, you can follow me at JK Bogan. You can check out my YouTube channel, Jake Ellenbogen, on YouTube. That's all you have to do is search that. Check out the Alexis Craft on Twitter. She is my co-host for those of you that are new here. She'll be back for the next installment, but that's going to do it for me. Hope you guys enjoyed, and go Rams. We'll talk again real soon. Later, guys.
That's not how I talk. Okay. All right. Get 20% off and free shipping with the code DTR at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com, and make sure to use code DTR. Unlock your confidence and always use the right tools for the job with Manscaped.